Hello, Natalie Tarry here from Mathematics. In the wake of another maths exam this week, which for those of you who are doing IGCSE or GCSE in England, so Pearson Edexcel, OCR, who's the other one? AQA, paper 2, or your middle of the 3 papers will be on Wednesday. And it's also the numeracy paper for WJEC. Now, I wanted to go through this question because this is typically one that a lot of students find difficult because there's no numbers. And by that, yes, I can see a 3 and a 32 and an 87 and a 2x. However, there's nothing numeric per se. So let's look at the question. And I want to go through what you do when you have a question that you would normally be fine with if it was all numbers. But as soon as you see letters, you're like, oh, can't do that. Okay. So what have we got in this question? Well, we've got a triangle. We've got 2 angles. We've got these 2 lines here. So when I'm looking at a question, automatically I'm saying, okay, so what does that mean? Okay. And that means, and I'm just going to get the pen on here, is it means that they're equal. Okay. And obviously the writing on this, obviously bear with me a second. So it's got equal sides and angle. Oh, it's being super sensitive today. This is not my best writing. So equal sides. So, and that also means that those 2 are equal. Okay. So at this point, even before I've even read the question, I'm kind of just doing that little recce of what's in front of me. And because those 2 sides here, AB and AC, are equal, the angles they make with the 3rd side, which is BC, are equal. So that is equal to that. Now, a lot of students find that quite difficult. Now, what I'm going to do now, so this is what I call the link. So I looked at the question and I saw, and in the first line it says, isosceles triangle. You know that word, isosceles. So I remember to spell it. Now, I know those 2 sides are the same length. Okay, that's nice. And then it's making that link between that rule and the actual numbers that are on your diagram. Okay, so I quite often say there's isosceles triangle, those 2 sides are the same length, one angle is this, one angle is that. Work out the value of x. And it's here, it's specifically, I want to point you out to this. Show clear algebraic working. That means don't sit there with your calculator and just try different numbers out, okay? Because you won't get your mark. So what we could do is we'll say, well, we know those angles are the same. So how do I write that? What can I write down? And this is exactly the thing here. You are saying that that angle is the same as that one. And the way that we do that mathematically is, we say equals, okay? So we've got 3x plus 32 is equal to 87 minus 2x. So what maths can I do with that? And this is the point where you think, well, it's actually asking me to work out the value of x. If it asks you to solve an equation, then again, you need to find the value of xp, whatever the letter is. So what I always say with thin questions like this is, apologies, I had a phone call coming through to me. I'll check that back in a minute. Is kind of, well, there's 2 things here. I've got a 3x and a minus 2x, okay? So when I've got something like that, I look at them and say, well, which one is the smallest? So I've got a 3 and I've got a minus 2. They're both sides of the equal sign. So what I would do is I would cancel out the smallest one. Now, by cancelling out that minus 2x, we have to add 2x. And I've just done that with my mouse. It's quite good, that, isn't it? 2x. My physical mouse, not the mouse pad. Literally, I'm doing it. And I'm doing it with my right hand. I'm actually left-handed. Anyway, so what that means is, because I'm looking to cancel this one out, I put a little arrow next to it. The reason I suggest doing that is when you're going through these and you're not 100% sure on the method, you need to kind of think, well, okay, 3x plus 5x gives me 5x. 3x plus 2x is 5x. Okay. Now remember, x's are the same, they represent the same number. So you can group those together. But you can't then say plus 32 makes me 37x. 32 is a number. So you treat that as a number, and you can only combine it with another number. Okay. And on this side, the action I've just done of adding 2x means that's gone. And it reminds me about that, but I've still got that 87 there. So I'm going to pop that in there. Okay. All right then. So this is a point where what I would call like a two-step equation. So there are two steps to this. When you're in your exam, obviously you can't speak out loud. Maybe if you're in a room on your own, it's a bit different, but you can't just speak out loud. But in your head, think, what is this? It's 5 lots of a number, I don't know. I add 37 to it, sorry, 32 to it. My eyes are going on different things. Let's start that one again. I've got 5 lots of some number, I don't know, but I'm looking to find out. I add 32 to it, and I get an answer of 87. So, well, what's the last thing I did? I added 32. So I'm going to do the opposite, which is take off 32 from both sides. Okay, and remember, hang on, let me put that in there with the ped. My words are clearly getting mixed up today. Right, so remember that was from the previous step. Another thing is a way you may understand it is solving equations is we're actually taking that over to the other side of the equal sign, and it becomes the opposite, which is a minus. Because it's a plus here, because you're adding, we do the opposite, which is subtracting, also known as the inverse. Okay, so what have we got left then? That's the thing that's gone. So I don't want to see that on that left-hand side on the next line. So I've got 5x is equal to 87, take away 32, 55. I'll be doing that quickly in my head. Remember, my calculator's downstairs. I've got my A-level one here somewhere. There we go. So I've got my, it's good because the A-level one is white. It was my little treat to myself. I decided I needed to get a little bit more modern with my A-level stuff. You know, the stats tables you have to look in, you don't need to do because they're on here. It's great. I love it. Anyway, so 5x, so 87 minus 32. If you think it's 55, great. Double check on your calculator because you lose a mark. Right, so 5 lots of this number I don't know is equal to 55. So therefore, I need this to go. It's going to go over the vortex, as I call this, really related to a student. They said, we were talking about like Doctor Who, and we're saying that if you go over to the other side, you change, you morph into something different. So when you're doing this in terms of an equation and solving, when you go over to the other side, you swap to a divide. And again, I've just started literally probably only the last couple of weeks, actually, because I'm always looking at ways to help students. So, well, actually, if you kind of mark that 5 there is going to the other side, oops, and it's going to be a divide. So 5 lots of some number. My annotate seems to have gone off for some reason. Just bear with me a second. There we go. It's going to the other side to divide. So basically the answer is x is equal to 11. Okay, so 55 divided by 5. Now, we do not have to do anything else, but it's always a good idea to just double check things. All right, so especially if you've got a calculator paper as well. So I am going to pop in my calculator. I'm going to do 3 lots of, so I'm looking at this angle here, 3 lots of 11 plus 32. I get 65. So what would I expect that to be? 87 minus 2 times 11 equals 65. Great. So let's kind of explain, we have used the fact that it's an isosceles triangle and those angles in an isosceles triangle are equal. We've used that fact, linked them together, and then we've done a bit of maths with what's in front of us. And I know some students will say, well, how do I know to do that? Practice. if you're still a bit uncomfortable with this whole thing of, you know, what do I write down? It is literally what's in front of me. What do I know about it? How can I show that to the problem based on the problem I've got, so that equals that is the same as equals. I'll just keep that in a second. So I've got a call coming in a sec. So there we go. And then it's just a case of, well, it's actually asking you to find x. So it wants to see this sort of like, well, I'm adding 2 to that, 2x to that side. I'm taking off 32 there. That's what we're talking about, okay? Right, I'm going to go on. I'm going to stop that now because I'm going to record another video for somebody, okay? But thank you very much for watching. And if you've got any questions you'd like me to go through, let me know.